Всем привет, мальчики и девочки! К нам присоединяется Артур Бабаев, он же Arteezy, из команды Shopify Rebellion. Hello, nice to see you.
Hello.
As always,
Yes,
here.
every year.
Every year. Yeah,
Every
we're
year.
doing it every year, and we're never gonna stop. Are you gonna stop, by the way? Let's start with that.
Shit, that was an opener. That was fast.
Yeah, that was fast.
I don't want
quickly.
to stop, but who knows? I can't predict the future. Usually after TI, I have this moment where I'm like thinking about my last couple years. Because I try to think about it like every 3 years. How did I feel playing for 3 years? So I mean, this last 3 years was pretty tough. This year has been pretty tough. So not sure. I don't want to stop though.
Okay.
Yeah.
It feels
Yeah.
always from your performance. So this year it was really changing all your career because it was really so long with the Creed Flyers and all these guys. So how did you pick, or what was your part of the process of bringing a new team to the table?
Well, we already knew for a while that the team was gonna kind of make roster changes. I think we had a conversation about at some point after Riyadh where we're talking about the future of the team. And it was because it was an attempt to make the TI better for us, because I think already it was not feeling good for everybody on the team. So we had to make a team from scratch, and it involved talking to a lot of players and a lot of kind of duos, and can't really get into super specifics, but
Yeah, for sure.
it was, I didn't do most of the talking. It was mostly like Bulba.
I remember he's the one who grabbed Ramses at
Yeah,
one point.
Yeah. I mean, I'm not very good at this talking thing. I just
Yeah.
message some people, ask them if they're interested, and then if they're not, then I just go next. But I think Bulba did a way better job than I did at it. And I think it was like, we already knew Kitrak was going to play with us from the start, so it was mostly him and Kitrak talking, and then I would come as well. Yeah.
So you ended with Yopaj. Why do you think he's like the best substitution for you? I mean, the best player for the mid position?
There were other options, but I think like in terms of the conversation we had from him, he was like the dude that was like, I'm ready to do it. Like, I will, as soon as you give me the call, I'll be there. Like, he showed the most enthusiasm about it. So I think that was important to have a person that actually really wanted to be there. And I remember we played against him in Boom last year when I was on EG, and they were the only team that beat us in the group stage of that TI. And then they eliminated Spirit. So I already felt like when I played against him, he was really good. And he's kind of wasting his talent a little bit playing in Southeast Asia. I had like a similar...
This is a harsh thing to say.
I mean, it's because that server, in general, practicing there is pretty bad. I'm not trying to say it's the worst. NA is definitely the worst server. So NA is the worst. But in terms of when you play in Europe for a long period of time, I think you start to develop additional skills that I don't think you can develop outside of Europe. So like, we thought he's already good, so much potential. So just kind of like Abed many years ago. She had the same work ethic, works hard, wants to get better. So
let's talk about the new season because it's so different to the DPC format and so on. And nowadays, it's really so much big tournaments, but you have to stay a lot of the time in Europe. How do you manage it by your real life? Is it normal for you? Is it okay?
It's okay. I think the hardest part for me is actually like when I come home, I don't want to play on ping. Like, that's for me. It's not like like the normal stuff is fine. Life is fine. It's just, it's so annoying to play 3 weeks on like 20 ping, and then if I want to practice at home, I have to like play on 110 ping for a couple of days. And it'd be okay if it was consistent 110 ping for my whole life. Like if I only played 110 ping, I'd be okay with it. But just
say hello to Kazakhstanian people.
But constantly switching pings all the time, it really messes with my brain. Like, I feel like my last hitting is just bad because it's not consistent. So it's like kind of a first world problem. Like, no, obviously it's like whatever, but yeah, that's the biggest problem for me. I like playing in Europe for long periods of time. After Dream League 22 or 1, I don't know. Some Dream League we played. I stayed in the liquid facility. I streamed there. I played pubs there because it's fun. It's fun to play on Loping.
But do you miss home? Because usually you got like last year it was only 3 majors and 2 another tournaments, which is Riyadh and TI. Or it's totally fine with you?
It's a little bit of like a blast from the past. I remember like 10 years ago when I was playing Dota, like first got into the pro scene, like you were just traveling everywhere. Like you'd go boot camp some Sweden, play some online tournament, then go to some LAN, and then go after the LAN, you go to China, and then so it feels kind of like that.
Okay, okay. So this year we're gonna have Riyadh as a $5 million prize pool. Do you feel there's gonna be like a competition which is the major for this year, or do you prefer TI in this perspective?
I always view that it's exciting when TI is the biggest tournament, so I'm okay with the change of like the lower prize pool, as long as TI is also like bigger. If TI is also like 5 mil or whatever, and then Riyadh's 5 mil, it's kind of like it's only sad because I came from a time where it was like like I came from it was low and then it went up.
Yep.
And then now it's going down. So obviously it's gonna feel bad. But it's still good. It's still good, but it's just compared to the past, I guess.
So the last question would be, how do you feel about your new roster? And also, like, why did you remove position 4?
Shit. Let me think about it. Well, the new roster, I think we can't announce it though.
I mean, we're not talking about
how do I feel?
any changes.
But how I feel? Okay.
Yeah. Why do you think that this was good decision or not good decision? I'm not sure.
I think there was a point where it felt like things were becoming harder than they should. Like you have a certain perspective of things should be kind of like smooth, and then when they're not smooth, you try to find ways to fix it, and then when you're trying to find solutions, it's also very unsmooth. So then you feel like it's hard to make it work. So in the interest of both parties, you just look for change and can't really speak too specifically. I think it's not my place. It's not my place. It's not my place as well to say. I think it is what it is.
Okay. So last question, small one. If are Falcons gonna win the tournament without Mallory or not? This one.
I don't even know who's at this tournament, but I think Wes Mallory is not coming for sure.
I mean, at least there's no news that he's gonna play.
Okay. I think he's kind of the like most important player to some degree. So I think it's pretty drop off for them. Is XG at this tournament? Is XG at this tournament? XG.
You mean Extreme?
Yeah.
I think so. Let's check it out.
I mean, I think
why not?
I think basically the Elite League Grand Final.
Yeah.
And I think the last tournament was Bepboom. I mean,
Extreme is here.
Yeah, I mean, I think those still are always going to be the top 3 contenders: Bepboom, Extreme, and Falcons.
Yeah, but
I'm waiting for the other teams to creep up.
Okay.
Also waiting for a new patch too. This patch is awful.
Oh, come on. I didn't even bring it up because of the frustration of it, you know.
Yeah.
I feel the same way.
Yeah. I'm bored. Very, very bored.
This is great ending. Like, we started with when you're gonna quit. I mean, last thing about being
That's
bored.
The one thing that I think has changed significantly than before. When if I think about from the start of Dota to now, I feel there is a lot more variance. I think there was a lot of changes that changed constantly. The game was ever flowing, constantly changing. I think there was never, I felt like, let's say, a grand final of TI, and then 6 months later, a grand final of another tournament. It was never the same pool of heroes. This TI is the same pool, pretty much.
Yeah.
It's exactly the same pool. There was a Brewmaster versus Chaos Knight in the grand final. There was a Brewmaster versus Chaos Knight last tournament. It's just the same shit.
So we're gonna wait for more chaos from you.
Chaos is good.
Chaos is good. Chaos is fine.
Chaos is good.
At least on a major note, we're gonna end this.
This is a good note. Yeah.
It's a good note. Thank you very much for coming. Спасибо вам, дорогие друзья. Наслаждаемся еще большим количеством контента, который мы принесем вам с PGL Wallachia. А с нами был Артур Бабаев из Shopify Rebellion.